Can we do it?
Okay, here we go.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the school board meeting of School District 544 to order. And Missy, will you take roll?
Certainly. Kirby Anderson.
Here.
Natalie Knudsen.
Here.
Melanie Cole. Matthew Lemke. Missy Hermes present. Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve our last agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Missy. That agenda is approved. A resolution on acknowledgements. Thank you to West Central Initiative for their generous grant donation for the Roosevelt Education Center Teaching Kitchen. Can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll offer that resolution and move for its adoption.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And a roll call.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
And today we have a couple of reports. So our first report is from Derek Abrams.
Thank you.
Okay, well, this was, started off as one of our more interesting springs. We're obviously looking forward to the, when I say normal, a non-COVID interrupted, and that's across the board. Spring, obviously, from a couple of years ago, got hit the hardest when we all went home, and we didn't have anything at all. But then weather started to have an impact, and we didn't get outside for anything until May. So we really had our entire, all of our action really happened in May this year, and that includes everything in our fine arts and other activities, because that was already scheduled for May. On our Wednesday night concerts, our spring play was in May, which we had for the first time in 3 years. So it got really, really busy, but it ended up probably one of our most successful spring seasons we've had to date. Numbers, again, down a little bit, still more than where we were in 2017-18. There was a lot of, this was across the board, this was not unusual. Our percentage still, when you look at how many different kids were participating in just high school sports, anytime we're in that 40 to 60% range, that's really high. And spring is always lower. Our fall and winter, we have a much higher percentage. We lose a lot of seniors. That happens when they just, if it's not their thing, they start shutting down. But still, good numbers there. I added the adapted bowling in there. We got adapted bowling going again for the first time since COVID. They had a real successful season as well. On my other sheet, my laptop went out on me last night where it just shut off, and I can't get it turned back on. So I went into another version of this, and I didn't have them listed, the adapted bowlers. But once again, qualified for state, went down, got to spend the night in the cities. So they had a whole lot of fun. So they weren't added on this one. It was the one that my other version. You can read through, again, sportsmanship, which is something that we always look at. We are now second in the CLC, in the history of the CLC. Brainerd has 93 sportsmanship awards throughout their history. We have 91. And again, we've been in the CLC about a third the number of years as Brainerd. So for, once again, and that should be, you can see my typo there, but girls golf got it, and we'll talk about them in a little bit again. But girls golf got the sportsmanship, boys golf, and then baseball. So all three of those were voted sportsmanship this spring. Our CLC Performers of the Week, again, every single week we had performers. Our all-conference list was quite lengthy, along with our honorable mention. Talk about state qualifiers a little bit before we get into the other items. Some things of note. In our history, we've had one team state champion. That was our swim team from about 12 years ago. And going into this year, we have had 2 second place team finishers. That was baseball in 2009 and boys basketball in 2016. Just in the last 2 months alone, we've doubled that. We now have 2 more second place with girls basketball, and then just 2 weeks ago, girls golf finished in second place in the state for AA. So we actually have a girl that's on Aaliyah Soidara, that's both on the basketball team and the golf team. So right afterwards, I told her she's officially part of half of our second place finishes in the history of Fergus Falls. So, but we also had some individuals, 2 sophomores, Riley McGovern and Ryan Nelson, that qualified in golf. Track, we had a great showing down there, not just qualifying for the state tournament, but placing. And of course, Ainsley Hanson, who became our latest state champion for the high jump down at the state tournament. And that was a lot of fun to watch. Alex Jensen, who finished 3rd in the shot put, Jordan Lee, we'll talk about him in a second, finished 2nd in the pole vault, and Ainsley were all competing at the same time, and it was all kind of right next to each other. So it wasn't just myself that was going from that, it was the parents of these kids, because they weren't all jumping or performing at the exact same time. So you had this whole Fergus contingent going from one site to the next to watch these. And again, Ainsley Hanson tying her school record with the high jump for the state championship. Jordan Lee also tied his school record, and interesting for Jordan Lee, he matched that. He and the state champion jumped or pole vaulted the exact same height. Both of them failed all 3 jumps at the next height that was 3 inches higher, but they go to a tiebreaker system, so you look at all the preliminary vaults, and whoever had the most misses throughout that, or the fewest misses, would be the state champion, and the person that was state champion had 0 misses, Jordan had 1 miss. So that's how close he was. So he actually had the state, so that was a very good performance by him. And Alex Jensen finished 3rd again in shot put like he did last year. He also qualified in discus, like Juilliard, Shane Zierden, and Luke Newman also were down there. And just a couple days ago, Carter Tilke was named All-State for 8AA for baseball. Other items, spring play. I bring that up. It was very successful. I'm Frankenstein over at the Center for the Arts. And why that was significant is, again, it's the first time in 3 years we've had the spring play. It's been since 2019, because 20 it was shut down. 2021 we couldn't get over there to really do much, and then this year we had it. We saw that in debate, we saw it in speech, we've seen it in all of these, in our drama. COVID had a bigger impact on those than any of our athletics or anything else, just because we pretty much got shut down completely. And so now we're rebuilding that. I'm excited to say that this fall, not only are we going to have our high school musical, which has already been selected and they've gotten going on that, but we're going to have a middle school musical. And that will help feed into this program and get these kids that are very interested in drama. We have some new directors and some new ideas, and their big thing is to encourage all students. It doesn't matter if you're in athletics, if you've never acted before, if you can't sing. They're trying to reach out to a larger part of our student body to somehow get involved with these. And as someone that in high school, I was an athlete. I couldn't sing or act or do anything else. I was in 2 musicals in high school as an extra, and it was just a real benefit for me. So I'm hoping that some more of these students jump in there. Trap shooting, which again is one of those activities that they have their own organization. Some of them, not all of them, because they go down to 6th grade, and we don't even allow 6th graders to sign up for activities. That some of them sign up through us in order to letter and to be recognized by the school. We had 35 kids just do that program alone. We had many, many, many more that were participating in trap shooting. We also were awarded some individuals as top shooters in our region, in our state. So that trap shooting program has really taken off. Fishing team, again, that's through community ed, so I don't have all the numbers and registrations, but just talking to Ethan Solon, who heads that up, once again, they are not hurting for numbers. We have a lot of kids, one of our most popular programs right now, and they just got going with their first tournament last week. As I mentioned, our concerts, we finally had our full spring concerts and everything, again, normal, with being able to not, last year, if you remember, we had to divide it up, like every 2 grades had their own concert. This year, we had the full concerts, and that was wonderful, and our senior recognition night, right at the beginning of May, was very successful, so. I don't know if you have any other very specific questions on the activities.
What are the plays in the fall, you know?
I know for high school is Addams Family.
Okay.
So they wanted to go something a little more fun, but something very recognizable by people that they know.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the music part of it, but the
Right.
idea behind it. And then we just approved the directors and stuff for the middle school musical, so I'm not sure what they're.
Okay. So the new directors next fall, who's directing?
Well, Ally Nicklausson is coming back, but we've restructured how we're doing it with, Val Johnson's gonna be involved now, too,
Mhm.
with the music part of it,
That's great.
along with, some others, so it's gonna be, a lot of fun, we're looking forward to that, they're very excited, they really got going this spring
Mhm.
with that, getting the word out.
Will it be performed here
Yes.
instead of at the Center for the Arts?
The musical is always here, the spring play has always been at the Center for the Arts, I'm not sure why that has always been
Okay,
that
I
way.
was just curious why
Yeah.
that was too.
And they've always done, at least as far back as I can remember, even back in my teaching years when we go over to the spring play, it was always at the center. But the musical is always here, yeah. And they may go to one weekend for the musical instead of spreading it out over 2, just because of the availability of it always, with all the concerts, November, it's a crazy time. And they've changed the dates at times, made it earlier for the availability to have 2 weekends. They'd rather go just a little bit later and have it just the 1 weekend, so.
Any other questions? Awesome, thanks.
All right,
Thank you.
And then our next report is from Superintendent Drake.
Good morning.
Morning.
Not a lot of new information really to report over the last 2 weeks. We did finalize moving forward with Metropolitan Mechanical on the chiller piece. We still have a couple of questions to figure out whether we're gonna do with the alternate bid number 1, which had to do with the ice storage tanks, whether to have those removed or just leave them where they are. And then alternate bid number 2 had to do with the removal of the York chiller. We do need to select a contractor for that because that York chiller plugs the access for any other maintenance work that we would need to do down there with our boiler system. The Roosevelt canopies, that's an insurance claim based on some falling ice and snow last year that damaged 3 of them on the Roosevelt gym side, so that's ongoing. And we're looking at some structural engineering on those projects because of the way they need to be adhered to the side of the building. And then Lincoln Phase 2, the latest piece on that is that after the holiday here coming up, there'll be some user group meetings with Zerberg. And those are some of the finer details on the planning side of the project, where to put interactive panels, whiteboards, cabinetry, those kinds of things. And we definitely want to get input from the people using those spaces before making those decisions. And then ongoing, it seems like in the district, are personnel decisions. So it's the ebb and flow of people coming in and those seeking other opportunities. So a couple things on the horizon here. They did a second round of interviews, I believe that was last Friday, for the high school counseling position. I have not heard if they've offered the job to anyone at this point. And then we do have a 5th grade opening that we'll be filling as well. And that may come from that round of upper elementary position that we had interviewed for just a couple weeks ago. So we had a nice pool of candidates for that, and some people that we liked a lot but didn't have enough openings for. So that was kind of a nice, maybe a nice opportunity for somebody. But that's about it. It's mainly facilities and personnel here during the summer. In July, I'll be taking some time to review our safety handbook and do some updating on that. And then that will be a big piece of the admin retreat for sure that we'll have in early August, and then leading into some information shared with our staff during the welcome back piece that we do in late August, early September, just prior to the start of the new school year. So with that, certainly happy to entertain any questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to our general consent items. We have the minutes from June 13th board meeting, and then personnel meeting.
All right, good morning, everyone. As Jeff said, summer means personnel changes. And sometimes it goes pretty much throughout the year too with a large organization such as ourselves. We are the second largest employer in Fergus Falls, so obviously we will have changes too with that. Under certified staff hires, we have 3 teachers: Alicia Clausen, diversity, reach, and facts teacher at Kennedy Secondary School. Brad Strand, everyone's familiar with Brad, will be returning as a middle school math teacher. And Shelley Streck-Simondet, work-based learning teacher with our IQ at a .333. And all 3 of those will begin next August the 29th as teachers in our school district. Certified staff resignation, we have Christine Lavoie, 6th grade teacher here at Kennedy. And that is effective at the end of this last school year. Support staff hire, Alicia Cabal, paraeducator at Kennedy Secondary School. She will be beginning as with their new school year in our back-to-school workshop in-service time week, I should say. Support staff resignations, we have Amber Hovland, co-curricular activities secretary, and Andrew Knick, paraeducator, and they're basically at the end of this school year now. Amber's contract runs a little into the June, and so her effective date is 6/30/2022. We have 2 requests from our secretaries to reduce their contract days for the school year. Curriculum office secretary, job description 213, reduce work days to 195. And then accounts receivable secretary, reduce work days to 215. And just for the board's knowledge, that this is a 5-day reduction to both of those. So the curriculum secretary was at 200, now going to 195. Accounts receivable secretary was 220, now reducing to 215. So just so that you know, it's basically a reduction of 1 week. And then coach resignation, we have Kevin Pearson, head boys baseball coach, and that's effective at the end of this current season here too. So I would recommend all of those for school board approval. And so.
Can I get a motion to approve the general consent items?
So moved.
I'll second that.
So we'll move on to
We have to prove it though.
any questions?
There you go.
That motion is approved.
Oh, we have to still vote on it,
vote on
sorry.
it.
Yeah.
Oh.
To do discussion, now to the vote.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
okay.
right.
I'm just trying to keep.
All in
contact.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, say nay. Motion is passed. There you go. We'll move on to old business. The approval of fiscal year 23 financial budget for the Fergus Falls Public Schools. Can I get a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Are there any questions on that? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those not, say nay. The motion is passed. Okay, on to new business. Our first one is the MDE review and comment proposal for phase 2 of the Lincoln School project. Can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions there?
So this is basically just the letter that's going to the
Commissioner.
Department of Ed.
Mhm.
Okay. And then they go through and review everything and say your name. Okay.
Yep, and the letter's in the packet if you want.
Yep, I've got it right here.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Okay.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
And those not, say nay. The motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the 2022-23 Fergus Falls Public Schools K-12 Student Handbook?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any questions or discussion on that? All in favor of approving that, say aye.
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 Those no, nay. The motion passes. And then we'll move on to a motion to approve wage adjustments for substitute staff positions effective 2022-23 school year for certified teacher substitutes. It will go up to 140 a day or 70 for a half day, and support staff substitutes $16 per hour. Can I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
In a second?
I'll second.
Any questions
What,
or comments?
Elaine, what were the numbers before?
130,
130.
65,
Okay.
and 15 to 16.
130, 65, and 50, okay, good. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those not, say nay. Motion passes. Our next item is wage adjustment for non-affiliated staff to $16.25 per hour effective 2022-23 school year. Can I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
And a second, any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those say nay. That passes. The next item is a wage adjustment for the ECFE preschool classroom aides to $17.25 an hour effective 2022-23 school year. I get a motion to approve that.
So moved.
In a second,
I'll second.
any questions, comments? All right, the motion passes. Or all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those not, say nay. Okay, that motion passes. Our next one is the 2022-23 Health and Safety Executive Summary of Written Plans. Can I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those not, say nay. Okay, that motion passes. And then our last item is revisions to the following school district policies. Policy 205 about open meetings and closed meetings. 208 is development, adoption, and implementation of policies. 414 was mandated report of child neglect or physical or sexual abuse. 513 student early admissions, promotions, acceleration, and retention. 605 alternative programs, and 609 religious expression. Can I get a motion to approve those revisions?
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those not, say nay. All right, that motion passes. And then, that's it for our board meeting. Our next regular scheduled meeting is Monday, July 18th, 7:15 here in the Otter Community Room. And then we will be also identifying a school board work session day and time. Our work session today is the lease agreements, some facility lease agreements. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those not, say nay. All right, we are adjourned.
That was a quick meeting.